What is it about me that makes you think I want to be relatable? Maybe everything you've done in your career so far? I don't know. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Erica, and I make videos about social commentary, disability. I do story times. I do disability for my workouts. I do some reaction videos. I just do all sorts of random things. But today I am going to be talking about Rachel Hollis. Now, if you don't know who she is, then basically she is one of those self-help guru types of people. She wrote a book called Girl Wash Her Face and Girl Stop Apologizing, and then she wrote a book called Didn't See That Coming about her divorce that the entire internet saw coming, but apparently Rachel did not. But so if you don't know, recently she posted a TikTok. I think I'm gonna add it to this video. I'll add like clips of it.
Woman who comes to my house twice a week and cleans. She's my house cleaner. She cleans the toilets. Someone commented and said, "You are privileged AF." And I was like, you're right. I'm super freaking privileged, but also I worked my ass off to have the money to have someone come twice a week and clean my toilets. And I told her that. And then she said, well, you're unrelatable. What is it about me that made you think I want to be relatable? No, sis, literally everything I do in my life is to live a life that most people can't relate to. Most people won't work this hard. Most people won't get up at 4 a.m. Most people won't fail publicly again and again just to reach the top of the mountain. Literally every woman I admire in history was unrelatable. If my life is relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong. Okay, yesterday.
But in this TikTok, Rachel is mad because a fan told her she was privileged, and then she also told her she was unrelatable because Rachel had a house cleaner come in, and at least from Rachel's words, this woman comes in twice a week and cleans Rachel's toilets. Now, I'm sure the housekeeper does much more than that, but for some reason, Rachel only likes to point out that this woman cleans toilets, and that's a pretty terrible way to talk about someone. Like, you're putting somebody down and saying, I'm better than you, you clean my toilets. And she also, what I really want to get at in this video, because I've seen many videos talking about this TikTok, but I think more prominent is what Rachel represents. To me, Rachel represents grind culture, like the idea that you just have to work and work and work and achieve, and so on and so forth. Like, because in that TikTok, Rachel was saying that she works harder than people. She gets up at 5 a.m. whereas most people don't do that. She does this and that. And I think this shows something deeper in our society. To me, I've noticed a push for women in particular, but I'm sure people of other genders are guilty of this too. But women will pervert the pillars of feminism in order to make money from other people. So in this case, I think Rachel Hollis is selling her image. She's selling her perfect life with all the kids, and she has a housekeeper. She's selling her like fitness because she developed a fitness app called the Rise app, where she does like short little workouts, which I mean, I do workouts online, and it's fine that she's selling this stuff, but she perverts feminism in a way to make women think that the way to be a strong woman is to constantly achieve and be a boss babe. But I mean, which is fine, but I think capitalism can be quite abusive, and I think Rachel doesn't see how she's looking down on her housekeeper and saying she works so hard so she deserves this housekeeper. But what about the housekeeper? Doesn't she work hard? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking too much into this. You can tell me down below if you think that's the case. But I think Rachel is obsessed with climbing up this social ladder. And more than just Rachel, I think people in general have this idea that we start out here and we have to get up here. Which, I mean, yeah, for some people that may work, but it doesn't really acknowledge that people have certain privileges and certain systems work against certain people. So like, people of color are at a disadvantage. Trans people are at a disadvantage. Disabled people are at a disadvantage. Fat people are at a disadvantage. But Rachel thinks she is the epitome of feminism and what it means to be in a world where we're all equal and we all have the opportunity to get to the top. Which, I mean, from my perspective, I'm like, what's at the top? I don't want to work my life away. I don't want to, and this reminds me of a time that Rachel, I think she was at a Beachbody conference, which is an MLM, and Rachel was hired to talk at it. And the advice she gave to one woman was, when the woman said that her sister was skeptical of her joining this business, Rachel said, cut her sister out of her life. You don't need that negativity in your life. And the message, I think, at least I got from that, is throw away all the people in your life. If they're distracting you from succeeding or achieving some great thing that doesn't actually exist, then cut them out of your life. And it's like, but what is the point of gaining all this success and getting money and being a CEO if you have no one in your life, if you have no purpose because you cut out all the people in your life? And don't get me wrong, I am a big feminist, but I don't think that feminism means we're all gonna be CEOs. Actually, I think if feminism works, it'll be the opposite. We're all doing things and we're living together, and nobody is better than anybody else. We're just all doing what we can do and what we want to do. I think that's what feminism should be about, instead of selling this lifestyle and being like, oh, look at me, I'm a boss babe and I have all these, and I have people to clean my house. Like, that's fine. If you want to have a housekeeper, there's nothing wrong with that. Make no mistake about it. But if you're using that as your measurement of success, I think there is something wrong with it, because what is your ultimate goal? To be a billionaire? To have all the money in the world? That's not gonna bring you happiness. And don't get me wrong, I don't use that against people. Like, when people are poor, I'm not like, oh, well, money doesn't buy happiness. Like, if you don't have the basics you need to survive, happiness is very far away. But it gets to a certain point where I think people lose sight of what's important. If everybody has the essentials, if everybody has food, housing, employment, a family, if they want that, if they have like people around them that affirm their identity, if they have all of the basic ingredients people need to survive and to not constantly be in fight or flight mode, then happiness would be a lot easier to achieve for people. But of course, there are people that want to have more than everybody else and want to prove that they are better than everybody else. And those people take advantage of everybody else. And I believe Rachel is one of those people. Now, don't get me wrong, Rachel herself is not the issue here. The issue to me is our society and how we have let feminism become something people can capitalize off of, something people build their brand off of. Like, I don't know, I don't look at Rachel Hollis as a feminist icon. I look at people like Frida Kahlo as a feminist icon, because she likes to allude to her when she's talking about how great she is. I also think Harriet Tubman is a feminist icon. I was almost going to say, oh, Rachel Hollis. No, Harriet Tubman is nothing like Rachel Hollis. I also think Judy Newman is a feminist icon. There are a lot of people I would call feminist icons before I would call Rachel Hollis a feminist icon. And why is that? Because these people are fighting for equality. They're fighting for, like, they're saying, just because I have a vagina, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but hopefully I can. Just because I have a vagina doesn't mean I should be relegated to certain things, and I shouldn't be able to have rights and be able to vote and be able to go to school and do what I want to do. I think that's what feminism is. It's not about boss babes, achieve. It's about we all deserve to have the same opportunities. That doesn't mean we all have to take advantage of them. If we don't want to do that, if you don't want to be a CEO, then don't do that. Because you want to do what you're passionate about. And also, I wanted to talk about how I think Rachel Hollis has used the body positivity movement to gain fame, and yet then she also is fatphobic, in my personal opinion. So if you don't know this, Rachel Hollis, the first time she like her name was really out there was when she posted a picture on Instagram, and hopefully I'll be able to put it on the screen. I'm getting better at editing, don't worry. But so it was a picture of her body, and like she's had kids, and she was wearing a bikini, and she had like stretch marks and excess skin and cellulite, which and that's perfectly fine. But she was basically saying how I'm here and I love my body even though it doesn't fit conventional standards. Now, I would argue with that. I would argue that her body does fit conventional standards. She's white, so she has white privilege. She's able-bodied, so she doesn't have to think about accessibility and whether places were built with a body like hers in mind. She's fairly thin, so she can shop at pretty much any store she wants to, and she can sit in a movie theater, on a plane, wherever she wants to go, comfortably. She's cisgender, so she's not gonna deal with transphobia. And I'm not knocking Rachel for having privilege, but I'm saying body positivity is a political movement for marginalized bodies, for people in marginalized bodies to say we deserve just as much respect as any other body, no matter what size you are. If you're disabled, if you're trans, if you're a person of color, if you're black, so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure I covered all of my bases, but if I did not, I sincerely apologize, and I do my best to include everybody. But that's not to say that Rachel can't love her body. She can, but she's held as this body positive icon, but she's not. Because one chapter in her book, Girl Wash Your Face, and I'm going to give credit to another YouTuber, I think her handle is Heavy Writes Books, and she read Rachel Hollis's book, Girl Wash Your Face, and in it was a chapter about this, I don't know how to describe it. Savvy does a better job at explaining this because I didn't read the book, and I have no desire to read this book, but she has a chapter where she makes up this person named Pam, who is, I guess, bigger than Rachel is, and she is somebody you cannot trust because she cannot stick to a diet. And this is the person we're hailing as a body positive hero. No. Rachel can accept her body and she can feel good about her body, but she's not a body positive activist. And I don't believe she's ever given herself that title, so I will say that she's not at fault here. But people need to stop calling Rachel a body positive hero. And lastly, one of the last points I would like to cover is in one of Savvy's videos. She talked to one of Rachel's former employees, and the employee is someone part of the LGBTQ plus community, and she was, this woman who used to work for Rachel was saying that Rachel had this diversity training at her company. But the only thing they talked about was race. They didn't include any other intersections. So apparently, Rachel Hollis is not only classist and racially insensitive. I'm not sure if I would go as far to call her racist, but I mean, people have, and I'm not going to argue with that because I kind of think she is. But not only is she that, she's ableist, she's kind of transphobic, she's fatphobic. She's just an all-around mess. And what I really wanted to get at in this video is she's selling her body, her brand, her lifestyle, her family. These are all products she wants to sell to you. She's modifying herself because she believes she's the epitome of success. And people have fallen for this. But after that TikTok, the facade crumbled for a lot of people. But here's the thing. I don't think there was ever a mask. I don't think there was ever a facade. I think Rachel showed who she was from the very beginning. But people chose to ignore that because they wanted to believe in this false narrative of the woman who came from nothing and she became a CEO and a best-selling author when really she married a rich man, which I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking her for that. But what I am saying is she should not call herself self-made. She should not be like, if I can do this, you can do this. You should say, if you happen to find a rich person and you can marry them, then you can do exactly what I did. But if not, it's gonna be a lot harder. Hey, awkward little cut in here, but one of the points I wanted to make that I didn't make in my original video is that grind culture to me is a deadly game because there's always going to be somebody who's more successful or who works harder than you, and you're just going to work yourself to death. And I think that's the nature of capitalism, but maybe that's just me, and you can, sorry, I'm getting my remote. You can disagree with me if you would like, but that's the point that I really wanted to make in this video. Harder. And I think that's the end of this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not already, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you again next time. Bye.